Shabbat Shalom. Welcome back here to the Light to the Nations, to the frequency, Dennis and Devi. That's true, to the frequency of YaHuWaH, like tuning in a radio. And this is exactly, what it look like, tuning into Abba's frequency. And we are here with that feeling in the heart, is to tune in his frequency, to continue the study of the book of Bamidbar, Numbers. We are in the almost in the last. We're completing.
Part, yeah.
Yeah, it's next week. We are completing the last portion of Bamidbar.
Yeah.
And we're going to begin with the last book of Torah. It's a beautiful one. It's the book of Devarim, Deuteronomy.
It's like the summary. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a beautiful summary. So today is a double portion. It's a Matot and Masei. We're going to read and study starting in the chapter 30th until mid-chapter 36.
Yeah.
I think you are going to do most of the talking today because you already read the portion. I didn't have the chance to complete it, but we are going to do here online. But, that's the idea of this cycle, is just to study together, just to share what YaHuWaH is bringing to our hearts. As I always invite you, I will invite you again to share your comments in the chat. We are here together to grow as a body, as a group of people, as children of YaHuWaH. Together, He's the one is instructing us, He's the one teaching us, He's the one guiding us on the way. So please share your comments in the chat so we are going to be able to study together the portion. So before we begin, because we are going to try to begin right away, we have many chapters to check.
To read.
I just want to share the two news with you. And the first one, and some of you already know about this, is that Abba once again has opened the door for us to do a second trip. And we are going ahead visiting the United States once again by the end of this month. We are closing the itinerary just to see where Abba is taking us. In this trip, we already have 2 locations, at least secure, 3 locations actually. 4 locations actually. That we have secured. We are going to be in Orlando. We are going to be in Tennessee. And also visiting Kansas City and Atlanta this time. So we're still working in the schedule where else Abba is taking us. We're going to be spending at least 2 weeks mostly. It's 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Almost 2 weeks.
Almost, yeah.
It's around 10 days, a little bit. And yes, we are going to pray for that, Yarash. Why not? It was part of our thinking as well, but we are depending on YaHuWaH to tell us where to go. So hopefully, in the coming days, we're going to be closing the itinerary, and most probably we are going to be sharing with you where we are going to be, in which day. So if we have the chance to spend some time with some of you, is going to be a blessing. YaHuWaH has put a few things in my heart, in our hearts, to share, and I have been praying for that. I think He wants to do something with all of us, with all His people in these times, and we are going to be sharing some of that message in this visit. So pray about that, and we have the chance to see some of you. It's going to be a blessing to us. That's the first news. And the second news is that, after the long time, I was able to complete one of, I think it's 5 videos that I had in my heart for many time. To prepare, and most probably next week I'm going to be releasing this one. It's a very short video. It's 9 minutes long, no more than that. And the reason that I'm sharing this with you is just to tell you about what's the spirit behind these videos. And The idea actually is to use this material to share with people that has not complete knowledge of the word of YaHuWaH. Is to take this type of videos and to share with somebody that has not read the scriptures. For example, somebody that doesn't know the concepts of the word of Yah. Is to serve us as an additional tool to share light with more people. So it's important for you to understand the concept, because the vocabulary that I used in the videos is not the same that we see normally in the scriptures, and it's not the same that we use normally in our studies. And what's the intention is just to touch hearts. It's just to talk to the people in the same way that Shaul was talking. You know, he was talking to the Jewish as a Jewish. He was talking to the nations, to the Gentiles as a Gentile. So in order to bring the message, the light, as David is saying, the light to the nations. So be attentive. Most probably during the next week I'm going to be releasing this. YaHuWaH had, working with me in the last 2 weeks. It was a little bit funny and amazing, because in just one morning it was like a download that I received, and writing the script and then working on the content. So, and since it's a short video, it's almost 9 minutes long, I managed to do it in English and Spanish.
Yeah.
So you will see what it's about. It's the first of 5 titles that I put in my heart, and I think is the most important to start with.
Yeah.
It's about the truth.
It's like an invitation.
It's an invitation. So I will invite you to join us in this idea. I'm sharing this in YouTube to see if Baba is going to share this with more people, that is going to be able to get this message. But also you can use it in your own service to YaHuWaH, to take this video to share with people that maybe has not heard about the word, and to use it as a tool for the kingdom. That's the whole intention. You will see it. Just expect some news in a few more days, and you will see what I'm talking about. And keep us in your prayers, because as I said, this is one of 5 titles, if I'm not wrong, and the other ones are gonna be a little bit longer, most probably. And I need a new download in order to have the script. I have everything here in my head, in my heart, but we need to put it in a kind of a script in order to put the content together. So those are the news. Be attentive next week in this video, and also we will be sharing about the schedule for this upcoming trip to the States. We are very excited to come back. First experience was so beautiful. We have been sharing this with you, and Allah has put some fire in our hearts, and we have this expectation, and we are sure that we are going to enjoy this time together, and we are just want to be obedient to His voice, to His will, and to whatever He wants to do through us. So, having said that, I think we are gonna move on to the portion, and but let's listen to a song, as we always do. So let me share this song with you, and here we go.
Adonai b'shamayim chasdecha emunatcha ad shchakim tzidkatcha keharei el mishpatecha tehom rabah ירוויו מדשא ביתך ונחל אדניך תשכן כי עמך בכל חיים באורך נראה אור בשוך חסדך ליודך וצדקתך לישרר כי עמך בכל חיים באורך נראה אור בשוך חסדך ליודך וצדקתך
With the same spirit, I will invite you to close your eyes and let's pray together. YaHuWaH Elohim of Israel, we want to give thanks to you in this moment, in this new Shabbat, because of love, because of your kindness and your compassion. Thank you, Abba, because you have chosen us to be part of your people, and you have given us an opportunity through the offering of your Son Yahushua HaMashiach to enter through the door, because He's the door to come back to you, Abba, and to be part of your people, Israel. Thank you, Abba, for your covenant and because of your promises, because you are faithful, Abba, and you keep your promises until the end, and because of your oath to Abraham, Isaac, to Jacob, because of your oath with your own Son, Yahushua HaMashiach, we are here, Abba. And the desire of our heart is just to worship you and to give you praises, to acknowledge that you are the only true Elohim, the maker of the heavens and the earth, and that we are your people, that we are your remnant, Abba, in these times. We invite you, Abba, in this moment, in this Shabbat, in this moment that you are giving us the opportunity to gather ourselves together with intention to study your word, to know you better, to know your will and to walk in your will. We invite you, Abba, that your presence can be among us, that we can feel your presence in our heart. And we ask you, Abba, that you can guide us with your Ruach HaKodesh in everything we do and everything we say. Because the desire of our heart is to serve you with YaHuWaH. The desire of our heart is to love you and to be obedient children. Children that are hearing your voice and obeying. Children that are loving you completely and following you completely. Thank you because It's your love and your compassion who make us a had in you. And because we can feel your love in our hearts for one another, but especially because we feel that fire and that love towards you. Thank you, Abba, for this family. And thank you for everything you do for us. Guide us in everything. Guide us through the trials and any difficulties. Heal our bodies, Abba, but especially, Abba, give us of your Ruach in order to serve you completely. Thank you for everything. And thank you for being with us, with your presence here. We pray to you in the mighty name of your Son, YaHuWaH HaMashiach. Amen.
Amen.
Let's do the Parsha in 60 seconds.
Shalom and welcome to Parsha in 60 seconds. Today's portion is from Numbers 32 through 32:42. It is called Matot, which means tribes. Vows made to God were required to be completed unless made by a wife or daughter and the husband or father objected to the vows' terms. Widowed and divorced women could not take back their vows. God told Moses to attack the Midianites for their deeds in Peor. The Israelites attacked, killing every man including 5 kings and Balaam the prophet. They plundered the Midianites, only keeping virgin women alive. Moses directed the troops to stay outside the camp for 7 days and purify everything, including themselves. The plunder was divided among the tribes. The troops presented 16,750 shekels of gold for Eleazar and Moses and kept the rest. The Reubenites and Gadites desired the land on the east side of the Jordan River for their cattle. Moses was concerned that they would not fight for them when they crossed the Jordan, and that God would not allow their generation to see the land because of it. They agreed that they would fight until all the land was conquered. Moses agreed. The Gadites and the Reubenites built cities, and some leaders of Manasseh conquered cities and settled there. And that is Matot in 60 seconds.
Okay, let's listen to the second.
Shalom and welcome to Parsha in 60 seconds. Today's portion is from Numbers 32, 36-13. It is called Masei, which means journeys. Moses recorded their journeys from Ramesses to Sakkah, to Etham, to Pi Hahirath, to Mara, to Elim, to the Sea of Reeds, to the wilderness of Sin, to Dophah, to Alish, to Rephidim, to the wilderness of Sinai, to Kibroth Hattaavah, to Hazarah, to Rithmah, to Ramon Perez, to Libnah, to Rizah, to Kehilah, to Mount Shefer Haradah, to Makahelath, to Zehah, to Tahath, to Terah, to Mithkah, to Hashmonah, to Mozrah, to Benajacon, to Hor Haggidgad, to Jakbath, to Arnah, to Izion Geber, to Kedesh Mount Hor. At God's command, Aaron ascended Mount Hor and died there at age 123. They journeyed from Mount Hor to Zalmonah, to Zalamona, to Punan, to Obath, to Liabarim, to Dibengad, to Almon Diblathaim, to the hills of Abram, to the steeps of Moab. God tells Moses that when they crossed the Jordan into Canaan, they were to destroy everything and take the land and divide it. If they fail, the remaining inhabitants would annoy them forever. God then sets boundaries of the land. God sets up the cities of refuge. The cities of refuge were to serve as places for those who accidentally killed someone. They would hide in the cities until their trial date. Many rules were created for these cities. The kinsmen of Zelophehad were concerned that the daughters of Zelophehad would marry outside their tribe. God instructs the daughters to marry their cousins within their tribe. And that is Masei in 60 seconds.
Okay, we're back.
A lot.
Yes, and this is so
Yeah.
funny, the way that he put it. So let me put the scripture in the screen and let's see how it looks like. I think we're good. Something happened here. Just give me a second.
Yeah, let's pray for all the people who are not yet in the chat and the one that maybe are just watching the stream but not typing. Yeah, for all the one that we missed.
Yeah.
And everybody has a Shabbat Shalom.
Now I got what happened. In just, give me just 1 second and we're going to start right away. Okay, now it's better. So let's go. I'm going to start reading. We're going to the Midbar chapter 30th. And it says the following. And Moshe spoke to the heads of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, This is the word which YaHuWaH has commanded. When a man vows a vow to YaHuWaH, or swears an oath to bind himself by some agreement, he does not break his word. He does according to all that comes out of his mouth. Or if a woman vows a vow to YaHuWaH and binds herself by some agreement while in her father's house in her youth, and her father hears her vow and the agreement by which she has bound herself, and her father has kept silent towards her, then all her vows shall stand, and every agreement with which she has bound herself stands. But if her father forbids her on the day that he hears, then none of her vows nor her agreements by which she has bound herself stand, and YaHuWaH pardons her, because her father has forbidden her. But if she at all belongs to a husband, while bound by her vows or by a rash utterance from her lips by which she bound herself, and her husband hears it, and he has kept silent towards her on the day that he hears, then her vows shall stand, and her agreements by which she bound herself do stand. But if her husband forbids her on the day that he hears it, then he has nullified her vow which she vowed, and the rash utterance of her lips by which she bound herself, and YaHuWaH pardons her. But any vow of a widow or a divorced woman by which she has bound herself stand against her. And if she vowed in her husband's house, or bound herself by an agreement with an oath, and her husband heard it, and has kept silent towards her, and did not forbid her, then all her vows shall stand, and every agreement by which she bound herself stands. But if her husband clearly nullified them on the day he heard them, then whatever came from her lips concerning her vows or concerning the agreement binding her, it does not stand. Her husband has nullified them, and YaHuWaH pardons her. Every vow and every binding oath to afflict her being, let her husband confirm it, or let her husband nullify it. But if her husband is altogether silent at her from day to day, then he confirms all her vows, or all the agreements that bind her. He confirms them, because he kept silent towards her on the day that he heard. But if he nullifies them after he has heard, then he shall bear her crookedness. These are the laws which YaHuWaH commanded Moshe, between a man and his wife, and between a father and his daughter in her youth, in her father's house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I felt I needed to read it completely. So now we can comment. You can start. You have something to share.
I think that here the communication inside of the house is really critical, because maybe the wife or the daughter who is living under the same roof is doing a kind of commitment, and if the father doesn't know, she's going to commit herself in something that maybe she hasn't had to do it. It like the example of what happened with Rachel, and when in the opposite way, when it was Yaakov who said, well, that is going to happen, and at the end she died because she has done something, and she was doing like a kind of a promise to. So I think that is really important. And also that's kind of funny, because it says like women are usually...
I was nearly fine at her.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
nearly fine her. Yeah, and usually it says that we have the tendency to speak or to promise something very quick. Like maybe we don't give much thought about that. So maybe that also is something telling us that as a family, sometimes it's needed to have a better communication. Maybe something that we are going to promise or to commit. It's always better to have it discussed or studied inside. I don't know. I felt that.
It's good, actually. I think this is the way it should work. That was the intention from the very beginning. Communication is key, in any type of relationship. We have been talking about the communication with Abba. To talk to him all the time is
Being echad. Yeah,
being echad with him, praying to him, to partake with him in these special moments that he has created. So this is part of communication, and he wants to talk to us as well. So this is totally applicable, as you said, to our early relationships. You know, it's been heard from since always. Communication is key. You know, I work in communication,
Yeah.
telecommunications
So-
actually. So
so-
I know a little bit about that.
And also that we have to understand that sometimes being silent, that means that you are agreeing with, you are giving like your approval. So, and the problem is that usually we as human beings, we don't do like that. Usually sometimes with the silent, we are trying to say, no, I'm not collaborating with you. But maybe we have to be very clear when we are against something and we are not participating. Because according to the scripture, silent is approving something, not going in the contrary way. So that's something to take into consideration too.
Yeah, as I said last week, I think Abba is taking care of sisters a lot. And, you know, it is making it even harder for us men because we have a greater responsibility. You know, it's, you know, the world also always have been picturing this kind of competition between men and women, and people that doesn't see the truth of the word of YaHuWaH see sometimes that women are in a disadvantage point. But that's totally untrue. And because what YaHuWaH has created is to put a system of how to say it, of authority, and with the whole intention to put things working in the right way. And that's why, you know, he's demanding more from men than from women in certain aspects. And in this case, you know, it's a kind of protection for women in the way that I see it. Because, you know, we always sometimes speak more than we should. I think we all can tell stories of things or situations that we have been experiencing when we talk more than we should.
Yeah.
But in this case, you know, sisters, women had a protection because men can nullify it.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, is an act of love somehow.
Yeah.
Together with an act of authority, just to put together how's the authority and how the structure that YaHuWaH has put together in family and also in his kingdom.
Yeah. And if we have the case of a sister that they are divorced or they are widow, they are responsible for their own commitments.
Yes.
So they have to give more thoughts about what they are going to do, because in that situation they are the one that are independent at that moment, but are depending on Abba. Not that they're, so your connection, your consulting with everything you're going to commit or do, always keep Abba in the, he's going to direct your step and your thoughts in the right direction.
Right direction. That's true. You know, there's something that is it's a burden, a kind of burden in my heart, and you touched a little bit about this. You know, it's not being mentioned clearly in this portion, or directly in this portion. I think it somehow is connected more to a previous portion when we're talking about sin. But it has a correlation anyways. It's about keeping silence. In this case, you know, what we just read is that if man keeps he's not able to nullify any rash word or any oath from women. And, you know, YaHuWaH is very strict, and because, you know, man needs to act immediately as soon as he heard
In the same day.
the word, in the same moment, in the same day. Cannot pass more time, because we just heard at the end of this chapter that if he tried to nullify it later,
Yeah, it's not going to
he will bear the
Burden,
crookedness.
yeah.
It's going to be a crookedness on
on
him.
him. Yeah.
Because, and you know, let's put this into practice. If we hear something that is wrong, and we keep silence, is that because we are also participating on the same? Because we are not taking the responsibility, talking about men, that we have been given to us. So coming back to the point that I wanted to make, keeping silence is participating in something that is wrong. For sure, we keep silence because we have a fool in front of us, as the book of Mishle, Proverbs says, that even a fool keeping silent is being considered a wise man. So sometimes we speak too much. Sometimes we need to hear more than speak less. We need to let
They
the
said we
Ruach
have 2 years and only 1 month.
we need to speak. The book of Kohelet, it says that there are times to speak and time to remain silent. But in these particular times when we see something that is wrong, we cannot keep silence. We need to speak immediately. And most probably all of us, we have failed in these things in any moment of time in our lives. But we need to take this word from Noah seriously, because that's the way he sees things. And that's the expectation he has from his people, is that we see wrong, we need to act immediately. If we hear wrong, we need to act immediately. And what's the burden that is in my heart, and we talked a few weeks ago about this, is exactly what's happening in the world today. We see wrong happening day after day. We hear wrong happening and being talked about day after day. And most probably we remain in silence. It is exactly what Allah wants from us? I don't think so. I think that's why we need to keep and to take this very seriously. Especially, that everything in the system of the world now is trying to destroy the core of what YaHuWaH has created, to destroy family. It's up to us to take the responsibility, and men and women, adults, basically, has a big responsibility in order to do what YaHuWaH is saying. If we see in our children that they're being speaking something that is not right, we have to act immediately. If we see that the society is doing something wrong against the core of the family, we cannot remain silent. It doesn't mean that we are going to go and fight. As I said in one of my meetings at work this week, it doesn't mean that we need to go and to be contentious. It doesn't mean that we need to go and fight with them.
But we need to make a point.
It means that we need to make a point, exactly.
And why the reason why we are not agreeing with that.
We need to speak up. We cannot keep silence. We need to speak up. If not, we are participating on the crookedness, and we will need to bear the crookedness ourselves. So that's why I think Mashiach mentioned something that is quite critical, and I think this is in the chapter 5 of the book of Matthew, YaHuWaH. Verse 34, when we talk about vows, he said, "But I say to you, do not swear vainly at all, neither by the heaven, because it is Elohim's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, nor by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great sovereign, nor swear by your head, because you are not able to make one hair white or black, but let your word yes be yes, and your no be no. And what goes beyond this is from the wicked ones."
So we have two options. We don't have one in the middle. We have two.
Yeah, the invitation is not to make oath, because when we make an oath, we are binding ourselves to something. That doesn't mean that we cannot do a vow. That's why, even Torah is teaching and showing us, YaHuWaH through his Torah, through his word, that there are the voluntary offerings, are vow offerings. He himself is making oath. So if he's doing oath, he's also inviting us to do oath. But that's why, what is written here, in the Hebrew version of Matthew, is vainly. Is to make oath for something that is empty.
Yeah.
If we're going to make oath, is to make oath to YaHuWaH, to commit on something. And that's why we should not swear. We need to, James in his book was writing about the power of the tongue. And Yahushua was speaking that, out of the heart is bringing good and bad and evil words. And this is exactly what can contaminate us. So we need to watch out our mouth. And we need to be respectful, and we need to take this very seriously. And especially in these times of troubles, we need to speak up. Not in fighting, not in contentions, as I said. We need to speak up and to make the point about the truth or the word of YaHuWaH.
Yeah, because if we do it in contention, usually what is going to happen is that they are going to reject everything. So we have to consider how you would like to receive the same information, but put it in their shoes.
Yeah.
And make it that work, something that they're going to hear and not closing their eyes. Sorry, their eyes, their
Ears.
yeah.
So, there's something beautiful, when we talk about not keeping silent, but let me show it to you. It's something that YaHuWaH said about the Jerusalem. I have been telling you what's my view about the relationship between YaHuWaH and Jerusalem. It's a marriage relationship. Okay? And it says the following in the book of YaHuWaH, Isaiah chapter 62. It says, "For Zion's sake, I am not silent." It's exactly the same that we are saying. For Zion's sake, this is Jerusalem, the bride. Okay? So for the bride, he's not keeping silent. Just to connect the points of what we are reading in the portion today. "And for Jerusalem's sake, I do not rest, until her righteousness goes forth as brightness, and her deliverance as a lamp that burns." If we connect with previous passages in the book of Isaiah, also in the book of Ezekiel, we know that Jerusalem was making vows and doing commitment and doing adulteries and many things. So YaHuWaH is not keeping silent. He never kept silence. He spoke through his prophets.
Yeah, and he was calling them and tell them, what you are doing is not right.
He was calling Jerusalem out.
Yeah. Your ways are wrong at this time, so you need to come back.
And now he's not remaining silent because he wants to restore. He wants to nullify. And he made a way through Yahushua in order for this to happen. "And the nation shall see your righteousness, and all sovereigns your esteem, and you shall be called by a new name, which the mouth of YaHuWaH designates. And you shall be crowned of comeliness in the hand of YaHuWaH, and a royal headdress in the hand of your Elohim. No longer are you called forsaken, and no longer is your land called deserted, but you shall be called Hefzibah, and your land married, for YaHuWaH shall delight in you, and your land be married." How and why? Because he's not keeping silence. He knows what he wants to do. He knows what's better for Jerusalem. And the same thing should apply for us. We know what's the intention of the heart of YaHuWaH for this world. This world and all of us and everything that is in the world belongs to him. And we know what are the intentions of his heart. And it's exactly what is written here for Jerusalem. We can see this totally applicable to the rest of his creation. And that's why we cannot keep silence. Anything else you want to add?
No, that we only remember that the vows that we made are not for breaking. That we have to keep.
I have a reference here in the book of Devarim. Let's take a look to see what it says. In the chapter 23, verse 21 and 23. "When you make a vow to YaHuWaH your Elohim, do not delay to pay it, for YaHuWaH your Elohim is certainly requiring it of you, and it shall be seen in you. But when you abstain from vowing, it is not seen in you. That which has gone from your lips, you shall guard and do. For you voluntarily vowed to YaHuWaH your Elohim, what you have promised with your mouth." So it's very clear, and it's totally aligned to what Yahushua was saying. Yes to yes, your no to no, abstain from vow, but if you want to vow, okay, you need to keep your promises. And that's why, it's one of the things that's so important to understand in the plan of restoration of YaHuWaH. He made a vow. And he's following his Torah. He's the first one and he is teaching us his Torah in order to be like him. So if he made a vow, an oath, he will do it. He will fulfill it. That's why he will restore everything, and that's why he's giving us the opportunity to be part of that restoration, because he's going to restore Israel. He's going to restore the world. So let's go back to chapter 31.
Okay. And YaHuWaH spoke to Moshe, saying, Take vengeance for the children of Israel on the Midianites, after that you are to be gathered to your people. And Moshe spoke to the people, saying, Arm some of yourselves for the campaign, and let them go against the Midianites to take vengeance for YaHuWaH on Midian. Send 1,000 from each tribe, of all the tribe of Israel, for the campaign. So they were supplied from the tribes of Israel, 1,000 from each tribe, 12,000 armed ones for the campaign. And Moshe sent them on the campaign, 1,000 from each tribe, them and Pinhas, son of Eleazar the priest, on the campaign, with the set-apart utensils and the trumpets for sounding in his hand. So we're going to have the shofar and everything. And they fought against the Midianites, as YaHuWaH commanded Moshe, and killed all the males. And they killed the sovereigns of Midian with the rest of those who were pierced, Iwi, Rechem, Sur, and Hur, and Reba, the 5 sovereigns of Midians. And they killed Bilan, son of Beor, with the sword. And the sons of Israel took all the women of Midian captive, with their little ones, and took all as a spoil all the livestock and all their possessions. And they burned with fire all the cities where they dwelled, and all their settlements. And they took all the spoil and all the booty, both of man and beast. And they brought the captives and the booty and the spoil to Moshe and to Eleazar the priest, and to the congregation of the children of Israel, to the camp in the desert plains of Moab, by the Jordan of Jericho. And Moshe and Eleazar the priest and all the leaders of the congregation went to meet them outside the camp. But Moshe was wroth with the officers of the armies, with the commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds, who had come from the campaign. And Moshe said to them, Have you kept all the women alive? Look, they are the ones who caused the children of Israel, through the words of Bilam, to trespass against YaHuWaH in the matter of Peor. And there was a plague among the congregation of YaHuWaH. And now kill every male among the little ones, and every woman who has known a man by lying with a man, you shall kill. But keep alive for yourself all the female children who have not known a man by lying with a man. And you come outside the camp 7 days. Whoever has killed any being, and whoever has touched any slain, cleanse yourself and your captives on the 3rd and on the 7th day. And cleanse every garment and every object of leather and all the works of goat's hair and every object of wood. And Eleazar the priest said to the men of the campaign who went to the battle, This is the law of the Torah, which YaHuWaH commanded Moshe. Only the gold and the silver, the copper, the iron, the tin, and the lead, every object that passes through fire, you put through the fire, and it shall be clean. Only let it be cleansed with the water for uncleanness. And whatever does not pass through fire, you pass through water. And you shall wash your garments on the 7th day and be clean. And afterwards come into the camp.
And you can stop there because it's much longer, and the second part is
different.
Yeah, it's a continuation, but this is the offering. Yeah. So this is a difficult passage. Truly is a difficult one, because we see vengeance, we see death, we see many things happening here. You know, I managed to read it before the broadcast, this study, and you know what came to my mind is 2 things actually. This is a kind of funny because one thing is from the past and the other one from the future. And somehow it's connected to the second letter of Peter. I was reading this this week. Because we see cleansing through water and through fire. And Kepha, Peter, is talking about how the world was cleansed. And that's why it's from the past and from the future. Cleansed by water.
With the flood.
With the flood, exactly, of Noah. And how the heavens and the earth has been reserved for a cleansing of fire in the future, in the day of YaHuWaH. And I see, and just came when I was reading, I don't have all the points, but I see a kind of a correlation in this story, and what was leading to the flood, and what's going to lead to
the fire.
To the fire. Women were somehow. Before that, let me put some things.
We're the
straightforward.
one who has the blame. No.
Always. There's something that I need to put straightforward from the beginning. Is that we are talking about vengeance, but we need to understand what is written in the verse 3. It says the following: And Moshe spoke to the people, saying, Arm some of yourselves for the campaign, and let them go against the Midianites, to take vengeance for whom?
For YaHuWaH.
So all this matter of Peor, the sin was committed to
Against YaHuWaH.
YaHuWaH. All this punishment against Midian is not because Israel fell. It's not because Israel deviated themselves from the way. It's not because they went astray. All this vengeance and all this story here in the chapter 31 is because of the sin that was committed against YaHuWaH. And let me share what I see here. YaHuWaH almost lift his hand in an oath against the first generation because of disobedience and rebellion. But he made an oath, again talking about the vows, made an oath with Abraham, with Yitzchak, with Yaakov, that they were going to inherit the land. That was the reward. So let's put for a minute in the place of YaHuWaH if we can. And most probably he was going to fulfill his promise. And he's going to fulfill it now in this time as well. But let's keep the future for a minute. So he put all his hope in the second generation. So it was a clean second generation. But this matter of Peor happened. So it's like the plan somehow was moved in a way. Okay? So that's why the sin was committed against him, because he had a new remnant, a new people, a new generation of his people with ardent for his works, with fire in his heart for obedience. But now this situation of the matter of Peor happened. So the sin was committed against YaHuWaH, and that was the vengeance. So let me go back, and sorry that maybe I'm talking different aspects, but I'm just speaking my heart. What happened at the beginning was something very similar. He created Adam and Hawa. Everything was perfect, but they deviated themselves. And the world were going through even deeper darkness during the period of Noah. And what happened? The children of heaven, they descended to the earth. Hanok is talking about that. They mixed themselves with women. You see a kind of connection to what happened in the matter of Peor? The children of Israel mixing themselves with women, going into idolatry, moving forward with the darkness in the world, and more wickedness coming to the world. And what happened? Destruction, in order to cleanse everything, and purification through water. I don't know, maybe it's me, but I see a kind of correlation to what happened in this story. And talking about the future, we know that Armegido, the battle of Armageddon, Armegido, is going to happen outside the city. And, it's funny to me and interesting to me when they went to meet the army, they went outside the camp. So they were not allowed to come into the camp. They were meeting them outside the camp. And what's going to happen at the end, is wickedness all over again. And it's interesting, when we talk about the Revelation, it's again talking about the great whore and the daughters. It's talking about women. It's not. I'm not speaking about against about women, but it's just to try to understand the word of YaHuWaH. And but this time is going to bring fire in order to cleanse everything, in order to restore everything. So I don't know. Just to summarize, what I see is a correlation to what happened at the end in this story and what was going to happen, what happened at the beginning and what's going to happen at the end.
Yeah, but I have something that I don't know if it's different, but I want to also speak about that. I can see the relation. Our sins are the one who are polluting
Absolutely.
the kodesh of or the set apartness of our Abba, and that's why we are committing also trespass against him, together with the people
Absolutely.
who are trying to offend him. We are participating in that.
It's what we discussed at the beginning. Even when we keep silence on things happening that is wrong, we are partakers of the sin. So we are. If we deviate ourselves,
and his idea
we are going to be committing sin as well.
Remove sin at all from this from his creation, because his creation was perfect, and the problem was that the sin was introduced by the action of Adam and Hawa, and all the action that the human being or everybody is doing every single day. So he's trying to remove that and to help us to be in a state of cleanness so we can come back to him and to approach to him.
So I was taking a look in these passages, somehow connected to what I said. It says in the book of Yehuda or Yud, and Hanoch, the seventh from Adam, also prophesied of this, saying, see, YaHuWaH comes with his myriads of set-apart ones to execute judgment on all, to punish all who are wicked among them, concerning all their wicked works, which they have committed in a wicked way, and concerning all the harsh words which wicked sinners have spoken against him. So it's the same thing, when we see in this chapter, is vengeance for YaHuWaH. And it's the same thing that he's going to do at the end. And it's funny, I didn't see it, that also is talking about the harsh words connected to what we were talking in the first chapter about the vows.
Yeah.
And it's something that we all always need to remember, is what Shaul was talking and writing about in the book of Romans, when he said in the chapter 9, verse 21, does not the potter have authority over the clay? From the same lump to make one vessel for value and another not for value? And if Elohim, desiring to show wrath and to make his power known, with much patience tolerated the vessels of wrath prepared for destruction, and that he might make known the riches of his esteem on vessels of compassion, which he had prepared beforehand for esteem, even whom he called, not only us of the Yahudim, but also of the nations. So we are vessels. And this is something that we're going to talk in our trip about vessels. We need to understand that YaHuWaH is the maker of everything, and he has a plan in his heart, and he will do it. So it's up to us to decide if we are going to be vessels of compassion or vessels of wrath. In this case, in this chapter, we see the two of them, vessels of compassion and also vessels of wrath.
Yeah, and also when it was the mention about the water and the fire, also in the personal aspect, we have to correlate that or to assimilate that with our own tevilah or the baptism that we have or we had in the past, or we are going to have people are going to have with the starting point, with cleansing, and that cleaning process for everything that can be cleansed from this mortal life. And when at one point is going to be coming the second baptism, the baptism of fire. And some people, they say that they receive the same baptism in the same day, maybe in the week after. I don't know how it's going to work for everybody. But there is one point that he is going to do that, and he is going to put by fire those vessels who are made maybe from a different material, because we are created by different materials. You were talking about different kind of vessels. There are ones that are being made by gold, silver, metals usually. And metals, we know that is being refined, is being purified, because you can take all the stains, all the things that are contaminated that metal, it can be done through fire. So that's the idea. And if we are needing to suffer with that, because we know that the heat, the fire, is causing kind of something that we are not get used to, that is part of the process. And it's part of the process that maybe is not so how do you say that? It's not so comfortable for our humanness. So
we need to be like a metal in order to survive the fire. If we are made by the type of material that doesn't support fire, we're gonna get burned. But if we're metals, precious vessels, we're gonna endure fire.
And the intention is to remove the uncleanness matter of that, from that. Yeah, the second Peter. Yeah, I heard the video, you read it's beautiful. It's a beautiful letter.
And the present heavens and the earth are treasured up by the same word, being kept for fire, to a day of judgment and destruction of wicked men. So the destruction is coming for the wicked men. So, and we see wrath connected to wickedness, compassion connected to kodeshah, to set apartness. But beloved ones, let not this one matter be hidden from you, that with YaHuWaH 1 day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as 1 day. YaHuWaH is not slow in regards to the promise, as some count slowness, but is patient toward us, not wishing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. But the day of YaHuWaH shall come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with intense heat, and the earth and the works that are in it shall be burnt up. And you know, he's asking something so important, and that's why I came here to read it, because it somehow is connected to what we were discussing about being a metal, to survive the fire, because that somehow we are made by the right components, by the right material, we are going to survive that fire. Seeing all these are to be destroyed in this way, what kind of people ought you to be in set apart behavior and reverence? Looking for and hastening the coming of the day of Elohim, through which the heavens shall be destroyed, being set on fire, and the elements melt with intense heat. So, what kind of people ought you to be in set apart behavior? Everything is going to be melted by fire. But if we are being with an uncorruptible body, we have a kind of a metal body, to say so. And no metal about the music, rock metal, no. It's a kind of the type of material we are built, we are made of.
Yeah, and when people said, why we are just, it's taking so long, well, it's because he's patient. And he's giving more opportunities to some people who are just maybe hearing for the first time about him. Maybe for those who are for the first time that they're thinking, well, maybe this is not everything, and I need to look somebody up above me. So, and maybe our mission is to share that once our Father was compassion, he felt compassion on us, so he can share and pour over those people the same kind of compassion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be witnesses. Okay. Then
You have to continue.
where?
The 25.
25. And YaHuWaH spoke to Moshe, saying, Count up the plunder that was taken, of man and of beast, you and Eleazar the priest and the heads of the father of the congregation. And you shall divide the plunder into 2 parts, between those who took part in the battle, who went out on the campaign, and all the congregation. And set aside a Levi.
Levi.
A levy for YaHuWaH on the men of battle who went out of the campaign, 1 out of every 500 of men and of cattle, and of the donkeys and of the sheep. Take it from their half, and give it to Eleazar the priest as a contribution to YaHuWaH. And from the children of Israel, Israel's half, you shall take 1 of every 50 of men, of the cattle, of donkeys, and of the sheep, of all the livestock, and give them to the Levites, guarding the duty of the dwelling place of YaHuWaH. Okay, so from the people who fight, it was for
They
the
divided
Kohen,
in half, one for them,
and for the Kohen Hagadol.
Yeah.
And the other, they are going to provide even more, because it's 1 of 50, and they are going to give it to the Levites.
It's a 0.2% in the first one and a 2% in the
Yeah,
second.
and this, yeah. And Moshe and Eleazar the priest did as YaHuWaH commanded Moshe, and the booty remained from the plunder, which the people of the campaign had taken, was 675,000 sheep, and 72,000 cattle, and 62,000 donkeys, and 32,000 human beings in all, of women who had not known a man by lying with the man. Oh, it says about how much people.
Yeah.
And the half of the portion for those who went out on the campaign was in number 337,500 sheep. And the Levi unto Levi, and the levy unto YaHuWaH of the sheep was 675, and the cattle were 36,000, of which the levy unto YaHuWaH was 72. And the donkeys were 30,500, of which the levy unto YaHuWaH was 61. And the human beings were 16,000, of which the levy unto YaHuWaH was 32 beings. So Moshe gave the levy, which was the contribution unto YaHuWaH, to Eleazar the priest, as YaHuWaH commanded Moshe. And from the children of Israel's half, which Moshe divided from the men who campaigned, now the half belonging to the congregation were 337,500 sheep, and 36,000 cattle, and 30,500 donkeys, and 16,000 human beings. Then Moshe took from the children of Israel's half 1 out of every 50, drawn from man and beast, and gave them to the Levites, who guarded the duty of the dwelling place of YaHuWaH, as YaHuWaH commanded Moshe. And the officers who were over 1,000 of the campaigns, the commanders of 1,000 and commanders of 100, came near to Moshe. And they said to Moshe, Your servants have taken account of the fighting men under our command, and not a man of us is missing. So we have brought an offering for YaHuWaH, that every man found of ornaments of gold, armlets, and bracelets, and signet rings, and earrings, and necklaces, to make atonement for ourselves before YaHuWaH. And Moshe and Eleazar the priest received the gold from them, all the fashioned ornaments, and all the gold of the offering that they presented to YaHuWaH, from the commanders of 1,000s and commanders of 100s, was 16,750 shekels. The men of the campaign had taken a spoil, every man for himself. And Moshe and Eleazar the priest received the gold from the commanders of 1,000 and of 100s, and brought it into the tent of appointment, as a remembrance for the children of Israel before YaHuWaH.
Interesting. Why do you think they divided the spoil in two? because it's I understand the reason behind giving to the YaHuWaH through the Kohen Gadol or the high priest, and also to the Levites, because of everything we have been studying about the teruma, the contributions, the maaser, the tidings, and so on. But before doing that, they divided it.
Everybody
One
received.
for the ones that were in the campaign in the army, and the other ones for everybody.
I don't know, but I remember about that scripture that says that when YaHuWaH sends the rain, he sends the rain over everybody, even the people who are righteous and the people who are not righteous. So I don't know. It's supposed that everybody here is righteous because they are part of Israel. So maybe the fact that they are keeping, I don't know, okay, or taking care of the families, for instance, of those who were in the battle, maybe they are doing also something. Maybe it's not fighting with the sword and with their physical body, but they are maybe also enduring some kind of battles in the place that they are staying. I don't know. Maybe maybe not all the works are the same, but everything has a kind of reward, a different kind of reward.
And do you see any correlation to the end times and the plan of YaHuWaH? Because it's interesting, they were fighting. You put yourself in the situation that Yahushua is coming to conquer the world. And he has many parables saying that he is going to give rewards.
Yeah.
So one thing, just parenthesis, is that those that were fighting the battle, actually they were chosen.
Yeah.
It was not anybody. They chose 1,000 per tribe.
Yeah.
So were chosen people to go to the battle and fight the battle. Those that were engaged in the battlefield, they got a bigger reward.
Yeah.
But at the end, what they got was also somehow shared with everybody. Could it be that Yahushua is going to be the same?
Maybe.
We are going to conquer nations. We are going to rule the nations together with him.
Maybe only some people are going to be facing in the front of the battle. Maybe some other people are going to be doing something different. But anyway, the reward of the eternal life, of the coming back to him, is going to be given to
it's for
everybody.
his people. Part of the people is engaged in battle, but everybody is set apart to YaHuWaH.
And everybody
So at
is
the
doing
end,
something.
yes. And everybody is going to receive part of the reward. Some are going to receive more, others is going to receive less. But everybody, his remnant, is going to receive a reward. And now we need to ask ourselves: are we going to be the ones engaged in battle, or maybe we are going to be the ones that are going to be supporting in a different way? We don't know. It's YaHuWaH the one deciding, but we need to be attentive to understanding what group.
And I think that every position is going to maybe to face some different kind of battles, because even in domestic tasks you're going to be facing every day a different kind of battles.
Yes.
So I think that every task and every situation that we have to face, maybe it's going to be different from the other people, but it's like that is as much as in the same important. It has the same tiene la misma importancia, ¿cómo se dice?
Has the same importance.
Has the same
Level of
importance.
importance.
And I remember about one story that one group was fighting and some people were remaining with the luggage. I don't remember what it was.
The luggage.
Yeah, and they were they were not fighting. They were keeping the luggage and everything, and they were also receiving part of the beauty that it was distributed. I think that it was in the time of Abraham or something like
Really,
that.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
So, just to close this chapter, one beautiful picture that I see is the situation of the heart of the commanders. They heard Moshe about what they did, that they kept the women alive, and that's why they moved forward, and voluntarily they brought an offering, because it says that first it was because of two things, because of gratitude and also because of atonement. It is written like that. It says in the verse 50, to make atonement for ourselves before YaHuWaH. And why atonement was needed? Why they felt they need atonement?
Because they were killing people, I guess.
Yes, but not only that, in my view, is because of what Moshe told them. Because it said in the verse 14, but Moshe was wroth with the officers of the army, with the commanders of thousands and commanders of 100 who had come from the campaign. Moshe said to them, have you kept all the women alive? Do you remember the story of Shaul, the king?
Yeah.
He did something very similar.
Yeah, the same. He was instructed to kill all the people, including the king, and he kept the
king alive. So it's a kind of similar story, but here we see a different type of heart. First, the heart of gratitude, and second is the heart of forgiveness or repentance. I did something wrong.
Yeah, and they realized about that when Moshe was explaining them, what you do is not correct.
And what they did is to give something that belongs to them in exchange. In this case was the gold, silver, jewelry. But what's the bottom of the situation is that they gave up something. And actually, in the next chapter, we will see a very similar situation. Is to when we are really repentant and when we really love YaHuWaH with all our heart, we are going to be willing from the within to give up something, to give it to Him. It could be our time, it could be our I don't know, anything. It's part of denying ourselves. Is to recognize that He is the owner of everything. And especially, in gratitude. And this is something that sometimes we fail. We need to understand even the tiny things that are so tiny maybe for in our day-to-days, that we see it as a tiny things, but in reality are the big things that are related to the love and compassion of YaHuWaH for us. That we need to realize them and to have this heart of love and gratitude for YaHuWaH Sebaot, because He's the one giving us everything we need. Anything else?
That I don't know. That why they keep alive the girls.
I don't know. Do you have something to hear? No? I don't know.
No.
I don't know. So let's move on to the chapter 32.
Okay.
So it says the following, and the children of Reuben and the children of Gad had much livestock, a large number. And they saw the land of Jazer and the land of Gilead, and saw that the place was a place for livestock. So the children of Gad and the children of Reuben came and spoke to Moshe and to Eleazar the priest, and to the leaders of the congregation, saying, Ataroth and Dibon and Jazer, and Nimrah, and Heshbon, and Elaleh, and Seban, and Nebo, and Beon, the land which YaHuWaH had stricken before the congregation of Israel, is a land for livestock, and your servants have livestock. And they said, if we have found favor in your eyes, let this land be given to your servants as a possession, and do not let us pass over the Jordan. And Moshe said to the children of Gad and to the children of Reuben, are your brothers to go into the battle while you yourselves sit here? Now, why do you discourage the heart of the children of Israel from passing over into the land which YaHuWaH has given them? Thus your fathers did when I sent them away from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. For when they went up to the Wadi Eshkol and saw the land, they discouraged the heart of the children of Israel, so that they did not go into the land which YaHuWaH had given them. Then the displeasure of YaHuWaH burned on that day, and he swore an oath, saying, not one of the men who came up from Mizraim, from 20 years old and above, is to see the land of which I swore to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, because they did not follow me completely, except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, and Yahushua, son of Nun, for they have followed YaHuWaH completely. So the displeasure of YaHuWaH burned against Israel, and he made them wander in the wilderness 40 years, until all the generation that had done evil in the eyes of YaHuWaH was destroyed. And see, you have risen in your father's place, an increase of men, sinners, to add still more the burning displeasure of YaHuWaH against Israel. For if you turned away from following him, he shall once again leave them in the wilderness, and you shall destroy all these people. Wow.
Imagine, because then Moshe was thinking everything again.
Yes.
So we're going to be 40 years again in the wilderness. I don't know. Yeah.
So, you know, I see a correlation here with what Yahushua was speaking about, the loving our brothers. And I think it is exactly what Moshe is showing in his heart. You know, how come you are going to inherit and the others has not received the reward yet? Everybody deserves to receive it. So, are you going to let them down?
And also,
Are you going to help them?
yeah, and also if they're going to see that they're going to be there, what is going to be the thoughts of everybody? They're going to say, well, we're going to continue. Everybody can stay here. I don't know. We don't need to go furthermore. So I think that is also the issue. We're not going to complete to arrive to the final point.
Yes.
So we're
But
going
also,
to,
it's not act as a body. You know what the YaHuWaH has in his heart is that we need to work hard. So by them remaining there and inheriting, first they were getting the reward, like while their brothers were not getting it. And second, they were splitting the body. They were not had anymore if they were remaining there. And what YaHuWaH intended is that they needed to be a had all the time. That should speak to us. You know, if we see our brothers sinning, we should go and talk to them and to tell them and to guide them in the truth. If we see a brother or a sister going astray, you know, we need to try to do whatever is in our hands in order to help them to come back. At the end, it's going to be up to them if they decide to come back or not. But, you know, it's connected to what we said at the beginning. We cannot remain silent. We need to do something about it. And the first and the least of the thing we can do is to speak up, is to talk to them and try to take their hands and to guide them in the way together with us. If they refused, okay, we need to act with love and compassion, try to help them. But at the end, it's going to be their decision. And it's interesting how Moshe connected both things. You know, I think Moshe was somehow, you know, so, how to say it? Estaba curado de espanto, ¿no? Sorry, my Spanish. No, pero no estaba curado de espanto. No, he was, you know, he was somehow not demotivated, but he saw the rebellion of the heart of the first generation.
and maybe he was afraid that it was going to be
that's
the
the
same.
word. He was so afraid
But
that
not,
they saw, you know, a kind of spark of a similar behavior. And that's why his reaction.
yeah.
But again, he's giving us once again the example. He saw something wrong.
And he speak.
He spoke about.
Yeah.
Could you imagine what would happen if he was remaining silent? Maybe nothing that would happen later on was going to happen in that way,
Yeah, because
meaning the
maybe
good things.
maybe they need to hear that in order to make a commitment of something different.
And he spoke immediately. As soon as he heard, he spoke immediately. No. And he was, like a father teaching his child, telling him, this is exactly what happened in the past.
Yeah.
Are you going to repeat exactly the same mistake? And we see the difference between the first and the second generation, the difference on the heart. Because the first generation continue being rebellious. Even when they saw, we were reading about in the previous weeks, even when they saw the mighty hand of YaHuWaH doing things that nobody saw, like opening the earth and almost eating people alive. When they saw plagues coming in the wilderness, when they saw fire coming from heaven and the presence of YaHuWaH among them, they continue, having their own heart and being rebellious people. But we see in the other corner, we see the second generation. When they heard the word of Moshe, they repented and they changed their behavior. And we see it here. Because it says, it's starting in verse 16. Then they came near to him and said, let us build sheep enclosures here for our livestock and cities for our little ones. But let us ourselves be armed, hastening before the children of Israel, until we have brought them to their place. And our little ones shall dwell in the walled cities because of the inhabitants of the land. We shall not return to our homes until every one of the children of Israel have received his inheritance. For we shall not inherit with them on the other side of the Jordan and beyond, because our inheritance has fallen to us on this eastern side of the Jordan. And Moshe said to them, if you make this promise, if you arm yourselves before YaHuWaH for battle, and all your armed ones pass over the Jordan before YaHuWaH until he has driven out his enemies before him, and the land has been subdued before YaHuWaH, then afterward you shall return and be guiltless before YaHuWaH and before Israel, and this land shall be your possession before YaHuWaH. But if you do not do so, then see, you shall sin against YaHuWaH, and know your sin is going to find you out. Build cities for your little ones and enclosures for your sheep, and do what you have promised. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben spoke to Moshe, saying, your servants are going to do as my master commands. Our little ones, our wives, our flocks, and all our livestock are going to be there in the cities of Gilad. But your servants are passing over, every armed one of the army, before YaHuWaH to battle, as my master says. Wow. I think this is a big example to all of us. This is exactly, I remember the words of the disciples to Mashiach, when they said, Master, we have left everything for you. And he was promising them, a big reward for that. And we see exactly the same here. They wanted to protect their family. That's why they built these walled cities. But they were willing to leave them behind.
And that was not an easy choice.
No. And they were the strength, because it was the army of those tribes.
And they
so there were remained only the elders and also the younger to protect the cities and the families.
And they are going to be on the front. So that is really wow.
So I think this is a huge example to all of us, because as I said, in one corner we see the condition of the heart of the first generation, and the other corner we see the condition of the heart of the second generation. When they heard the word of Moshe, they realized that they were making the same mistake, and they repented, and they made a commitment. A commitment not with the Moshe, a commitment not to the rest of the tribes of Israel, though they were somehow connected to the commitment. It was a commitment with YaHuWaH. I'm gonna keep your plan, even though that it means that I'm gonna resign for a time on what I want, because they were the one who wanted that land, but they decided to resign, and they decided to leave everything behind because of love, because of obedience, because of YaHuWaH and His word. So I think that's the question we need to ask ourselves day by day. Are we having that heart? Are we willing to leave everything behind? Are we willing to follow YaHuWaH completely? You know, the answer to those questions are so important. It needs to be true answers from within. It will reveal what is really here in our hearts. It will really love YaHuWaH with everything in us. And if we see that we are doubting, we need to work. We need to do something. We need to pray. We need to ask Allah to help us. Because the times that we are living is that we need to have this type of heart. You know, they were not just making a commitment to leave everything behind. They were even willing to go to the battle. They could die on the way. Maybe they were not going to come back to their families. They were not going to come back to their possessions, to their inheritance. They had even the chance to die in the battlefield. But even though they made the commitment. So are we willing to go to the battlefield? Are we willing to give our lives for the kingdom of Allah? Because maybe this is something that will be required from us in the time ahead. So I think those are important questions we need to ask individually in prayers to Allah, asking Him to guide us on what He wants from us. So let's continue. And Moshe gave a command in the verse 28 concerning them to Eleazar the priest, to Yehoshua ben Nun, and to the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel. And Moshe said to them, if the children of Gad and the children of Reuben pass over the Jordan with you, every man armed for battle before YaHuWaH, and the land has been subdued before you, then you shall give them the land of Gilead as a possession. But if they do not pass over armed with you, they shall have possessions among you in the land of Canaan. You know, they were going to have possessions anyway. The reward
but
is what
it's
we were
going
discussing.
to be the location.
Then the children of Gad and the children of Reuben answered, saying, as YaHuWaH has said to your servants, so we do. We ourselves are passing over armed before YaHuWaH into the land of Canaan, but the possession of our inheritance remains with us beyond the Jordan. So they were so secure in their hearts of what they were committing and the vow they were making that they had no doubt. They were removing every doubt. I'm committing myself to you, Allah. I'm gonna do what you want from me. That should be the way we talk to Allah. And repeat it, because they were repeating exactly the same. I'm committed to you, O YaHuWaH. Do whatever you want from me. Send me wherever you want me to go. Do everything you want through me. I'm committed to you. That should be our heart. Always. So Moshe, the 33, gave to the children of Gad, to the children of Reuben, and to half the tribe of Manasseh, son of Joseph, the reign of Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, and the reign of Og, sovereign of Bashan, the land with its cities within the borders, the cities of the land round about. And the children of Gad built Dibon, and Ataroth, and Aroer, and Ataroth, Shofan, and Yaser, and Zelophehad, and Beit Nimrah, and Beit Haran, walled cities and enclosures for sheep. And the children of Reuben built Heshbon, and Elaleh, and Kiriatayim, Nebo, and Baalmeon, the names being changed, and Sibmah. And they gave other names to the cities which they built. And the sons of Machir, son of Menashe, went to Gilad and took it, and dispossessed the Amorites who were in it. So Moshe gave Gilad to Machir, son of Menashe, and he dwelt in it. And Yair, son of Menashe, went and took its small towns, and called them Havoth Yair. And Novach went and took Kenath and its villages, and he called it Novach after his own name. So I think the reason why Menashe also inherited in that place is because exactly what he says here. The sons of Machir, son of Menashe, went and took Gilad. So because they did it, that's why most probably they got a possession in that place. Now that they were going to give possessions to some of the tribes, okay, they were one of the biggest tribes as well. And the point is that they took possession. So it's like if I'm taking possession of this, it's going to belong to me. It's the same thing, and maybe that's the way that YaHuWaH thinks. That's why, this army that went into the battle with the Midianites, they took possession. So they got some of that possession for them. So, spiritually speaking, are we going to take possessions of our place in the kingdom? If we take possession on a place in the kingdom, we are going to receive that reward. But what it means to take possession is to go to fight for it, is to put all our attentions and our efforts in order to get it, is to win the battle, is to win the fight. But it's not going to be easy. Fight is involved. And fights, the battle is in the mind first, but it's also a spiritual battle that is outside us, is that we need to win it.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
Not that I found it beautiful that it was the one side of the YaHuWaH descendants also was in that place, because it's a kind of representation of all the tribes that are going to be in one side, and all the other tribes are going to be in the other side too.
True. So let's move on. Chapter 33.
These are the departures of the children of Israel who went out of the land of Mizraim by their divisions under the hand of Moshe and Aaron. And Moshe wrote down the starting points of their departures at the mouth of YaHuWaH. And these are their departures according to their starting points. So they departed from Ramesses in the first month of the 15th day of the first month. On the morrow of the Pesach, the children of Israel went out with boldness before the eyes of all the Mithrites. And the Mithrites were burying all their firstborn, whom YaHuWaH had stricken among them. Also on their mighty ones YaHuWaH had executed judgment. Then the children of Israel departed from Ramesses and camped at Sukkot. And they departed from Sukkot and camped at Etam, which is on the edge of the wilderness. And they departed from Etam and turned back to Pihahirot, which is in the east of Baal Zephon, and they camped near Migdol. And they departed from and they camped near Migdol. And they departed from before Ahirot and passed over through the midst of the sea into the wilderness. Went 3 days' journey in the wilderness of Etam and camped at Mara. And they departed from Mara and came to Elim. And at Elim were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees. So they camped there. And they departed from Elim and camped by the Sea of Reeds. And they departed from the Sea of Reeds and camped in the wilderness of Sin. And they departed from the wilderness of Sin and camped at Dovkah. And they departed from Dovkah and camped at Alush. And they departed from Alush and camped at Rephidim. And there was no water for the people to drink. And they departed from Rephidim and camped in the wilderness of Sinai. And they departed from the wilderness of Sinai and camped at Kibrot Hatawa. And they departed from Kibrot Hatawa and camped at Hatzerot. And they departed from Hatzerot and camped at Ritmah. And they departed from Ritmah and camped at Rimon Peretz. And they departed from Rimmon Peretz and camped at Libnah. And they departed from Libnah and camped at Rissa. They departed from Rissa and camped at Kehelatat. And they departed from Kehelatat and camped at Mount Shafir. And they departed from Mount Shafir and camped at Haradah. And they departed from Haradah and camped at Makelot. And they departed from Makelot and camped at Tahat. And they departed from Tahat and camped at Terach. And they departed from Terach and camped at Midkah. And they departed from Midkah and camped at Hashmonah. And they departed from Hashmonah and camped at Moserot. And they departed from Moserot and camped at Bnei Yakan. They departed from Bnei Yakan and camped at Hor Ahidat. And they departed from Hor Ahidat and camped at Yovatat. They departed from Yovatat and camped at Abronah. And they departed from Abronah and camped at Etzior Geber. And they departed from Etzion Geber and camped in the wilderness of Sin, which is Kadesh. And they departed from Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor, on the boundary of the land of Edom. Then Aaron the priest went up to Mount Hor and the mount of YaHuWaH, and died there, in the 40th year after the children of Israel had come out of the land of Mizraim, on the first day of the 5th month. That was yesterday.
For us in the calendar we're following, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday it was kind of like one day like that. Now Aaron was 123 years old when he died on Mount Hor, and the sovereign of Arad, the Canaanite, who dwelt in the south of the land of Canaan, heard of the coming of the children of Israel. So they departed from Mount Hor and camped at Salmonah. And they departed from Salmonah and camped at Punon. And they departed from Punon and camped at Oboth. And they departed from Oboth and came at Iye Ahavarim, at the border of Moab. And they departed from Iyim and camped at Dibon Gad. And they departed from Dibon Gad and camped at Almon Diblateyema. And they departed from Almon Diblateyema and camped in the mountains of Avarim, before Nebo. And they departed from the mountains of Avarim and camped in the desert plains of Moab by the Yarden of Jericho. And they camped by the Yarden from Beth Jeshimoth as far as the Abel Shittim in the desert plains of Moab. And YaHuWaH spoke to Moshe in the desert plains of Moab by the Yarden of Jericho, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and said to them, When you have passed over the Yarden into the land of Canaan, then you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and shall destroy all their engraved stones, and shall destroy all their molded images, and lay waste all their high places. And you shall possess the land and dwell in it, for I have given you the land to possess. And you shall divide the land by lot, as an inheritance among your clans. To the larger you give a larger inheritance, and to the smaller you give a smaller inheritance. Wherever the lot falls to anyone, that is his. You inherit according to the tribes of your fathers. And if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then it shall be that those whom you let remain shall be pricks in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and they shall trouble you in the land where you dwell. And it shall be that I do to you as I thought to do to them. Wow. So that is why he always gave the instruction of removing everything from the root, because if we left something from that remaining, that is going to be our future problem.
It's what Shaul was talking about leaven.
Yeah.
It's getting contaminating everything. So that's
Yeah.
why, the intention from YaHuWaH has been always to remove everything that is dark, is not light from his people.
And what it says at the end, I'm going to do to you as I thought to do to them. So
Yeah. That's why, the first thing that he's commanding them is to destroy the idolatry. As soon as you get into the land, coming into the land, destroy idolatry first in order to possess the land. And, this is totally connected to the message that is being said in the book of Yirmiyahu, Revelation, that we need to come out of her, my people, he's saying. And in the way that I understand this calling from Abba, it has two connotations. One, spiritually, emotionally, intangible to say so, and one, physically. So let's talk about intangible. So this is to remove everything from us that is related to the wicked one. It's to remove sin from us. So that's going to be the only way that we're going to be able to inherit the kingdom, is to have a set apartness, is to be ready for that. I have a few notes from the past here saying that how we do it. We are on the system, but we are not of the system, talking about the world. We know that YaHuWaH was speaking about that. We cannot become friends of the system. We were talking and reading just the passage of Kefabet, 2 Peter. It seems that everything is going to melt away. So why we are going to put our hearts on those things that are going to disappear, instead of, it's better to put instead of our sight in the things from the kingdom,
the one that are
they're
going
going to remain and endure.
Yeah.
So third, let's remove what is making us to stumble. YaHuWaH said that it's our hand is causing us to go astray. Let's cut it out. If our eyes is making us stumble, let's pluck it out. He's not saying that we need to do it physically. What he's saying is that we need to have the right heart, is that we need to do all our efforts in order to be set apart, is to remove everything in our lives internally and externally that is causing us to go astray.
Our actions, where we see what is,
Yes. Number 4 I have here is that we need to act as the disciples when they were asking YaHuWaH, give us more faith. Give us more emunah, more faith. It's time to fast, to ask for more faith. And the number 5 I have here is we need to be set apart and we need to endure. Those that are going to endure until the end will be safe. If we don't remove idolatry, we are in danger. Danger to not to inherit the land, or to be vomited out of the land. What else here we have that is interesting, and I haven't said this in the past, I do believe that the second Exodus, that's my current belief, is that the second Exodus will happen exactly in the same way that in the same timing that happened in the first one. So Pesach and unleavened bread is so important. That's why we need to rehearse all of this, and we need to be ready, because in one of those timings, most probably we'll need to depart from our places, walking in direction to Jerusalem. How we're going to get to Jerusalem is not up to us to decide. It's up to YaHuWaH to send us the wings of the eagles in order to lead us to his city, his Ir Kodesh. So, and the other thing that I found interesting is that, if we count the places, and counting 41 places where they stopped. And if we consider in the land of Canaan, it should be 42. Could it be that it's related to the 42 mounts that we see in the book of Revelation? Numbers are not coincidence in the scripture, so it could be that maybe that's something that we need to take a look. If some of you have had to take the time to take a look in the names of the places and to put it in somehow in a paper, maybe we can find something more interesting. So if you have done it, please share it with us and send it to the email, light2everynation@gmail.com. We can share with the rest. Because in the names,
What was happening?
there's always something beyond that, something more. So, removing sin, be prepared for the Exodus, the second Exodus, destroy idolatry, and I think we're going to do it spiritually now, but in one moment, when Yahushua is coming, we are going to do it physically.
And he's going to give us a big hammer and destroy everything.
Yes, because I think fire is not coming until the end of the 1,000 years, when he's going to renew everything. So that's why together, and that's my current belief. I can be wrong, but this I'm sharing what I feel. Thank you, Karen. So you have it. Please share it with us. That will be fantastic. Thanks so much. We are gonna work together with Mashiach in order to restore righteousness on earth.
To clean this place.
And we need to clean. What it means to restore righteousness is exactly this. We need to clean the land of Israel, and then he will send us out to the nations in order to restore full creation, restore righteousness. So maybe you will have the chance to go with a big hammer and to destroy a green statue in the north that is always appearing in Hollywood, being destroyed. So maybe you will have the chance to destroy yourself or other statues that are
But
around
not
the
destroy
world.
myself.
Huh?
Okay, because I heard you saying destroy yourself.
No, destroy the statue.
Okay,
Huh?
but I'm going to destroy the statue.
So let's move on. 34.
34.
So let's do it. And YaHuWaH spoke to Moshe, saying, Command the children of Israel and say to them, when you come into the land of Canaan, this is the land which falls to you as an inheritance, the land of Canaan to its boundaries. Then your southern border shall be from the wilderness of Sin, along the border of Edom, and your southern border shall be eastward, from the end of the Salt Sea. Then your border shall turn from the southern side of the ascent of Akrabim, continue to Sin, and be on the south of Kadesh Barnea, and it shall go to Hatzar Adar, and continue to Atzmon. And the border shall turn from Atzmon to the Wadi of Mizraim, and it shall end at the sea. As for the western border, you shall have the great sea for a border. This is your western border, and this is your northern border. From the great sea, you mark out your borderline to Mount Hor. From Mount Hor, you mark out your border to the entrance of Hamath. And the edge of the border shall be toward Sdat. And the border shall proceed to Siphron, and it shall end at Hatzar Enan. This is your northern border. And you shall mark out your eastern border from Hatzar Enan to Shepham. And the border shall go down from Shepham to Riblah on the east side of Ayin. And the border shall go down and reach to the eastern side of the Sea of Kinneret. And the border shall go down along the Jordan, and it shall end at the Salt Sea. This is your land with the surrounding boundaries. And Moshe commanded the children of Israel, saying, This is the land which you inherit by lot, which YaHuWaH has commanded to give to the 9 tribes and to the half tribe. For the tribe of the children of Reuben, according to the house of their fathers, and the tribe of the children of Gad, according to the house of their fathers, have received their inheritance. And the half tribe of Manasseh has received its inheritance. The 2 tribes and the half tribe have received their inheritance beyond the Jordan of Jericho eastward, toward the sunrise. And YaHuWaH spoke to Moshe, saying, These are the names of the men who divide the land among you as an inheritance, Eleazar the priest, and Yehoshua ben Nun. And take 1 leader of every tribe to divide the land for the inheritance. And these are the names of the men from the tribe of Yehudah, Caleb son of Jephunneh, and from the tribe of the children of Shimon, Shmuel son of Ammihud. From the tribe of Benjamin, Elidad ben Kislon, and a leader from the tribe of the children of Dan, Buki ben Yogli. From the sons of Joseph, a leader from the tribe of the children of Menashe, Haniel ben Ephod. And a leader from the tribe of the children of Ephraim, Kemuel ben Shiftan. And a leader from the tribe of the children of Zebulun, Elitzaphan ben Parnach. And a leader from the tribe of the children of Yisachar, Paltiel ben Asan. And a leader from the tribe of the children of Asher, Achihud ben Shlomi. And a leader from the tribe of the children of Naphtali, Pedahel ben Amihud. These are the ones YaHuWaH commanded to divide the inheritance among the children of Israel in the land of Canaan.
Beautiful.
Yes, what do you have to share here?
That is nice because it says that the one that are going to divide the land and assign the inheritance is the high priest and the leader. And we saw and we remember the words of Yahushua. He said, the reward is with me. He is going to give us the reward. So again, we see that figure. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, actually, I have part of my notes here is that all the reward and the inheritance is being led by the Kohen Hadol and the Shofet. Because the Kohen Hadol here was Elazar and the Shofet was Moshe. Actually, it was Yahushua ben Nun. So we know that both roles together are being merged in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. He is the judge, he is the king, he is the Kohen Hadol. So he is the one that is going to give us an inheritance. That's why the promise he gave to the disciples that, I'm going to prepare a place for you. So where I am, you can be with me. He was not saying and he was not promising them that they were going to heaven.
No.
He was promising them that he was going to prepare a place and that they were going to be with him in that place. Why? Because that place is coming to the earth. And this is exactly what we see in the book of Revelation. So he is the one that is going to give us the inheritance. And you know what is interesting for me is that they choose 12 leaders. It's in the same way that Yahushua was taking the 12 disciples. And actually, he said that you are going to sit with me to judge the tribes of Israel. So could it be that maybe the disciples are going to be the one assigned for the new inheritance? Because we see in the book of Ezekiel that, the land is going to be distributed and it's going to be distributed differently.
Yeah.
And there are so many beautiful parts if you want to read this in the chapter 48 of the book of Ezekiel, Yehezkel.
Do you want me to look for it?
No, because we need to read the other one.
Yeah.
But you can go and just a few notes from what is written. I have it here is that, it's going to be divided. The new inheritance, the new distribution is going to be divided in equal parts from east to west border. Okay? There's going to be a terumah, a contribution in the midst of the new land for the prince. This is the contribution for the Melech, for Yahushua. The Kohanim, the priest, and the Leviim will inherit with the prince in the same terumah, in the same portion. The Ir Kodesh, the set apart city, is going to be in the middle of the land of the prince. And also more people from all tribes will live in the city. There are going to be people working in the city from the different tribes. They are going to be also living in that city. Everything, is in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 48. So when we talk about rewards, when Yahushua was promising rewards, he was talking exactly on this. Everybody is going to receive something. Somebody is going to receive a reward to live in the city, in this special place. Other ones are going to receive reward to live in the different land assigned to the different tribes. But, in order to get the reward, first we need to be
worthy of that reward.
That's the word. Worthy of that reward. We need to fight the battle. We need to be prepared for that fight. We need to do it in a daily basis in order to be found worthy by Yahushua himself to give us the inheritance, to have the right heart in the same way that we were discussing about the right heart of the second generation. If we commit sin, we need to repent. That's what John was writing in his first letter. We need to remove sin and idolatry and darkness from within us and from outside. And little by little, day by day, we are finding few things that we need to work. And this is Abba revealing to us certain areas of our lives that maybe we have to work, that we need to transform. And he is so lovely that he is the one doing it for us, changing our hearts, molding us to his image and likeness. That is YaHuWaH HaMashiach. Because we need to follow his steps. We need to be like he is. And that should be our focus and priority, top priority of our lives all the time. So, anything else you have here? No?
No, in this one, no.
Let's go to 35.
Well, yeah, only one thing.
Go ahead.
That every commander, every leader that he was chosen and designed by YaHuWaH.
Mm-hmm.
And what called my attention, it's a new name from that tribe. It was not necessarily the same people or leader related to a different kind of task. So it was a new person. So that is always bringing so much satisfaction about that YaHuWaH has a work for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
We're not doing everybody the same work. So everybody has an important work to do, and my work could be very different from your work and from our sisters and from our brothers. So we have to just focus on what is the calling from Abba. So that's beautiful. Yeah,
Good.
that's it.
Good word.
Okay.
So let's go to 35.
And YaHuWaH spoke to Moshe in the desert plains of Moab by the Jordan of Jericho, saying, Command the children of Israel that they shall give the Levites cities to dwell in from the inheritance of their possession. Also give the Levites open land around the cities, and they shall have the cities to dwell in, and their open land for the cattle, and for the herds, and for all their livestock. And the open land of the cities which you give to the Levites are from the wall of the city outward, and 1,000 cubits all around. And you shall measure outside the city of the east side 2,000 cubits, and of the south side 2,000 cubits, and of the west side 2,000 cubits, and on the north side 2,000 cubits. And the city is in the middle. This is to them the open land for the cities. And the cities which you give to the Levites are the 6 cities of refuge, which you give to the manslayer to flee to. And to these you add 42 cities. All the cities which you give to the Levites are 48, these with their open land. And the cities which you give are from the possession of the children of Israel. From the larger tribe you give many, from the smaller tribe you give few. Each one gives some of its cities to the Levites in proportion to the inheritance that each inherits. So not everybody is going to give the same amount of cities. So it's going to depend on the size of each tribe.
Uh-huh.
And YaHuWaH spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and said to them, When you pass over the Jordan into the land of Canaan, then you shall choose cities to be cities of refuge for you, that the manslayer who strikes someone mistakenly shall flee there, and they shall be cities of refuge for you from the revenger. And this manslayer is not to die until he stands before the congregation for right ruling. And of the cities which you give, 6 are to be the cities of refuge. Give 3 cities beyond the Jordan, and give 3 cities in the land of Canaan as cities of refuge. These 6 cities are for refuge for the children of Israel, and for the sojourner, and for the settler in their midst, for anyone who mistakenly strikes someone to flee there. But if he had stricken him with an instrument of iron, so that he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer shall certainly be put to death.
Sorry.
And if he has stricken him with a stone in the hand, by which one could die, and he does die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall certainly be put to death. Or if he had stricken with him with a wooden instrument that could kill, if he does die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall certainly be put to death. The revenger of blood himself put the murderer to death. When he meets him, he puts him to death. And if he thrusts him through in hatred, or throws an object at him while lying in wait so that he dies, or in enmity, he strikes him with his hand so that he dies, the one who struck him shall certainly be put to death, for he is a murderer. The revenger of blood put the murderer to death when he meets him. But if he pushes him suddenly without enmity, or throws an object at him without laying in wait, or uses a stone by which man could die, throwing it at him without seeing him, so that he dies, while he was not his enemy or seeking his harm, then the congregation shall judge between him who struck someone and the revenger of blood, according to these right rulings. And the congregation shall rescue the manslayer from the hand of the revenger of blood, and the congregation shall return him to the city of refuge, where he had fled, and he shall remain there until the death of the high priest, who was anointed with the set-apart oil. But if the manslayer at any time goes outside the limits of the city of refuge where he fled, and the revenger of blood finds him outside the limits of his city of refuge, and the revenger of blood executes the manslayer, he is not guilty of blood, because he should have remained in his city of refuge until the death of the high priest. But after the death of the high priest, the manslayer is to return to the land of his possession. And this shall be for a law of right ruling to you throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Whoever strikes a being, the murderer shall be executed by the mouth of witnesses. But one witness does not bear witness against someone to die. And take no ransom for the life of a murderer who is guilty of death, but he shall certainly be put to death. And take no ransom for him who has fled to the city of refuge to return to dwell in the land before the death of the priest. And do not profane the land where you are, for blood profane the land, and the land is not pardoned for the blood that is shed on it, except by the blood of him who shed it. And do not defile the land which you inhabit, in the midst of which I dwell. For I am YaHuWaH. I am dwelling in the midst of the children of Israel.
The famous cities of refuge, you know. The first time that I read about the city of refuge, I was wondering how this is connected to the end times. Maybe he's going to protect his people in some of these places. Just wondering. I have not the answer, and just sharing my thoughts. You know what is important here, especially in the chapter 33 and 34, is what the connection between the blood and defilement. So it says, plain text, blood defiles and profanes. In the verse 33, it says, do not profane the land where you are, for blood profanes the land, and the land is not pardoned for the blood that is shed on it. Do not defile the land which you inhabit. So somehow blood is defiling the land. I remember the story of David when he wanted to build the temple, and YaHuWaH said that you are not going to build it, it's going to be your son, because you have shed too much blood. And we take a look in history, you know, how much blood has been shed throughout history. So how defiled is the land? And that's why, you know, somehow he's making the case on why everything needs to be purified with fire, because everything is defiled, and we are living in a defiled world. And that's why, you know, YaHuWaH has defined that we are the temple of the Ruach HaKodesh, and we need to do all the efforts in order to keep ourselves undefiled. So And the connection we have been talking about is the connection with the sacrifice of the Kohen Haol.
Yeah, because it said that the person who was running to this city of refuge, he was to remain there until the Kohen Gadol passed away.
Yes.
So it's a limit of time. After that, he can
He's being pardoned.
pardon.
But this is in case it was a murder,
without
killing
intention.
without intention. It was an
only
accident.
an accident.
So it's like, when we talk about sinning, a sin by mistake or ignorance, or a sinning purpose. And I think, somehow it's connected to the offering of Mashiach. He is our Kohen Gadol. He died and he was resurrected. It's like, it's defining a moment in time and before and after. The same is applicable here for the manslayer. It's a before and after. And what is in the middle is the death of the Kohen Gadol. Before, he could not return. After the death of the Kohen Gadol, he can return to his place. Now we are in exactly the same process. We were unable to go back to be one people. After the death of the Kohen Gadol, there is an after, and a door open for us to come back and to be out of defilement somehow, to receive cleansing. So I think it somehow is connected to the offering and the results of the offering of YaHuWaH. And I was wrong. Today we're finishing Bemidbar.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought that there was a
No.
new one.
No, it was this.
So let's read the last one.
Yeah.
It says, "And the heads of the fathers of the clans of the children of Gilad, son of Machir, son of Menashe, of the clans of the son of Joseph, came near and spoke before Moshe and before the leaders and the heads of the fathers of the children of Israel, and said, YaHuWaH commanded my master to give the land as an inheritance by law to the children of Israel, and my master was commanded by YaHuWaH to give the inheritance of our brother Zelophehad to his daughters. Now, if they are married to any of the sons of the other tribes of the children of Israel, then their inheritance shall be taken from the inheritance of our fathers, and shall be added to the inheritance of the tribe into which they marry, and take from the lot of our inheritance. And if the Yuvel of the children of Israel takes place, then their inheritance shall be added to the inheritance of the tribe into which they marry, and their inheritance taken away from the inheritance of the tribe of our fathers. And Moshe commanded the children of Israel, according to the word of YaHuWaH, saying, what the tribe of the sons of Joseph speak is right. What I found wonderful here is that they were so knowledgeable. They came and approached Moshe, but with knowledge. They knew about the Yovel, they knew what was the rules and the commandment about the inheritance. They knew about this commandment of YaHuWaH on the daughters of Zelophehad. So they have knowledge. And this is exactly what we need to approach things with YaHuWaH. Knowing his word, knowing his wisdom, knowing his commandments. That's the way we need to approach him every time that we are seeking his face and want to do something. That we want to consult with him. Last week we were talking about that we need to consult the tough things with YaHuWaH. Actually, we need to consult with him in everything. But the tough things, we always need to go to him in order to get guidance and direction on what we need to do, what decisions we need to make. But, if we combine what we talked last week with what we see here, we need to come with knowledge, understanding his word, understanding his ways, understanding his commandments, in order to be more specific in the question. YaHuWaH, you have commanded this and this and this. I'm following this, and you have commanded that and that and that. So what will happen in this scenario? Tell me, guide me. And this is, the beauty of beauty, what I see this here happening. They were approaching YaHuWaH in this way. So, and that was the answer. What the tribe of the sons of Joseph speak is right. This is the word which YaHuWaH has commanded for the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, let them marry who is good in their eyes, but let them marry only within the clan of their father's tribe. And you know, this is also something that is, you know, how YaHuWaH is taking care of women. You know, it's up to them to decide who they are going to marry. For sure, YaHuWaH has a plan, and we also need to, even in this type of situations, we need to ask YaHuWaH's guidance. We have the perfect example with the servant of Abraham and Rivka and Yitzchak. But even in that story, the family was asking Rivka to decide, you want to go with with the man?
She could
have refused.
Yeah.
So it's up to the sister women to decide if they want to agree or to refuse. So it says, and the inheritance of the children of Israel is not to change hands from tribe to tribe. For every one of the children of Israel is to cling to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers. And that's also showing us the heart of YaHuWaH, that he's giving this to you, it's for you.
And he doesn't want me to lose it.
Unless he's guiding you to do something else. You know, and we saw the story of that, you know, with the army, that they got this booty, but they needed to share it. Why? Because that was the will of YaHuWaH. But if he's giving you a reward, that reward is for you. It's a special thing for you. It's like the name that he has promised, a new name he has promised to all of us. It's something that only you will know at the beginning. Maybe later you will tell everybody, and everybody will call you with that new name. But it's something so special that it's going to be given only to you. So nobody else is going to be called Juan Carlos in the kingdom. Or like being is going to be called some with other name. So it says, and every daughter possessing an inheritance in any tribe of the children of Israel is to be the wife of one of the clan of her father's tribe, so that the children of Israel possess each the inheritance of his fathers. Thus the inheritance is not to change hands from one tribe to another, but every tribe of the children of Israel is to cling to its own inheritance. And you know, I think it's also a correlation of our responsibilities, our tasks. And you talk about this at the beginning. You know, and we have brought this example always, and we will do it again, is that we're acting as a body. And Shaul was talking about that. You know, a hand has a special task, an eye has a special task, feet has a special task, and so on. The heart has a special task, mouth, and so on. So here's the same, you know, you have a responsibility. In this case, I'm going to rephrase it. It's a reward, but you have a duty. This is your task. You cannot move it to someone else. You cannot take the other one. This is special for you. I have created you for this. Do it, and do it well. And I will help you to do it well. So it's the same thing. It's not to interchange our responsibilities or our promises or our rewards. As YaHuWaH commanded Moshe, so did the daughters of Zelophehad. For Mahlah, Tirzah, and Hoglah, and Milcah, and Noah, the daughters of Zelophehad, were married to the sons of their father's brothers, and they were married into the clans of the children of Menashe, the sons of Joseph, and their inheritance remained in the tribe of their father's clan. These are the commands and the royal rulings which YaHuWaH commanded the children of Israel by hand of Moshe in the desert plains of Moab by the Jordan of Jericho. Commandments to the second generations of Israel is a reinforcement to all of us of what we need to learn and we need to know about the will of YaHuWaH. And especially, you know, my main takeaway of this portion is that having the right heart is to do all our efforts to go up front, to speak up, not to remain silent, to be prepared for battle. If we go to the battle, we are going to receive a reward. If we act as a head, as a team, as a body, all of us are going to receive a reward. Is to have the right heart, even with the willingness to leave everything behind. in order to be obedient of YaHuWaH, in order to get into the inheritance. And we know that the kingdom is here. It's just a matter of time for the kingdom to be established physically and visible and in a visible way. But the kingdom already came by the hand of Yahushua. We are part of the kingdom, you know. He said the kingdom is among you, referring about the kingdom because he was the king, you know. The king was there among the people. And we are part of the kingdom. So the only fact that we are part of the kingdom, we can say that the kingdom is here.
If we kept our ways in
Exactly.
the same way that Yahushua did.
But it's going to be a marvelous time when the kingdom is going to be completely established and we are going to be able to see it, and the entire world is going to be able to see it. And most marvelous time is going to be when the door of the city are going to be open and we are going to hear the voice. If we fight the battle and we have the right heart, if we remove idolatry and we are set apart to hear the voice of Yahushua inviting us to come in, because we are blessed and we are getting the reward and the inheritance. Any final words?
Well, at the end it says also, when coming back a little bit, when these people who was killing somebody by mistake, it was taken to the city of refuge, they were going to be in a trial and they were going to be defended or somehow by the congregation. So I think that is also something really beautiful. And Yahushua says that we have to be prepared because we have to realize and have this. Everything that is written here is going to be like the book, how we would have to defend maybe some of our brothers. Yeah. So that's beautiful. Sometimes I think maybe living in this spirit is kind of being in the city of refuge. And I don't know, we have to do everything possible to be able to return to our King.
New Jerusalem is going to be a kind of a city of refuge. You know, it says that after the 1,000 years, Satan will try to go with the nations to destroy the city and the inhabitants. But everybody there is going to be protected. So maybe the final restoration of all things. So it's been a wonderful time together with you, like always, like every Shabbat. I hope that this has been a blessing to you in the same way that it's blessing us. So thank you, Daniel, for your message. And it's a blessing to tenerte acá con nosotros también.
And to everybody.
And to everybody, to have you all with us here. And we'll continue praying for you, for having a wonderful Shabbat and a wonderful week. Remember, keep us in your prayers for everything we are going to do, for the trip we are going to do at the end of the week, the month, and also for healing for his people, for the restoration on his people, and for the outpouring of the Ruach. We need the Ruach more than ever. So keep praying in that direction. I know that YaHuWaH will answer our prayers.
Yeah, and pray for each other.
Yes, let's pray for each other.
Everybody's living some different kind of distress or fights, so we need to be strong and ahead.
Absolutely. So we'll see you next week. We're going to start with the book of Devarim. It's going to be the last book of this cycle, and we'll see what we will continue next after this cycle. But the focus now is to start Devarim. It's a beautiful book, and we'll see how YaHuWaH is guiding our steps in this study. So thank you so much. YaHuWaH be with you all. Shabbat Shalom. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
אין כמוך אלוהים, גואל ישראל, מושיע העולם, ניתן כבוד לשמך. אין כמוך אלוהים, גואל ישראל, מושיע העולם, ניתן כבוד לשמך, כי גבר עלינו חסדך. העולם. ניתן כבוד לשמך, כי גבר עלינו חסדך. נהלל אותך, נהלל אותך מכל ליבנו, נהלל אותך, נהלל אותך מכל ליבנו עכשיו בארץ ולנצח בשמיים. נשיר לך, נשיר לך שיר חדש, נשיר לך, נשיר לך שיר חדש, נשתחווה